Welcome back for another amazing episode of Healthy and Wealthy and Wise. I'm your host, Lois Kofi, transformational coach and plant medicine woman. Excited to have you learn today to be inspired and equipped on how to live your best health, your best wealth, by trusting that best innate wisdom that lies within. We'll be talking about psychedelics, microdosing, spirituality, shamanism, inner child healing, trauma release, and so much more. Grab a cup of coffee, enjoy, tune in, invite a friend. We look forward to serving you. All right. Hey guys, sorry about that. Oh my gosh, it took me a minute to get on camera. How are you? Happy Friday. This is Lois Kofi. I am excited to be here on a impromptu episode of Healthy and Wealthy and Wise, where today we're going to have a very interesting conversation about how microdosing without a daily spiritual practice, and I'll explain all of these labels shortly, is like foreplay without sex. And you've probably never heard me talk about this kind of stuff before. And first and foremost, I want to be cognizant and sensitive to even the word sex and anyone who may have experienced sexual trauma, sexual abuse. First of all, I just want to honor and hold space for you. I've been doing that now quite a bit for clients. And over the past 6 months, my husband and I have been working with people who have had sexual trauma. And in the future, most likely August, I'm actually going to have a whole month about sexual trauma. And in my own way, I had sexual trauma, not from an abusive standpoint, but just the repression of that topic, the repression of our society. I'm not talking about that today, but I just wanted to kind of share with you why I brought it up. And I didn't bring it up in a flippant, cheesy, gross way because of what I'm sharing with you today and what I've seen when it comes to microdosing and plant medicine. So a lot of people have been jumping on I'm just going to say it, the bandwagon of microdosing. Their friend did it, so they try it. Not saying that any of this is bad, okay? Just hear me out on this. But I've seen that a lot of people don't take it seriously. Just like if you're flirting in a bar, your foreplay, again, I'm not going to go too deep in that realm. Okay, I'm not a sex coach, but when you're leading someone on and there is no really deep, intimate relationship beyond that, whether it's sexual or not, it can be frustrating. It can be confusing. It can be freaking just, almost make you angry and confused. And that can happen in microdosing and in working with plant medicine. Truly, I have been there. I'm not just making stuff up just to get people's attention. I went through that journey where microdosing was confusing, where it was frustrating, where I wasn't getting results. Same thing with deep dive plant medicine. And so for what I experienced, I want to pay it forward. I want to teach you guys, be a resource, be a messenger for the medicine, because microdosing and plant medicine is sacred, just like sex. It's not something that you should be playing around with. It's not something that you don't want to take seriously and have like a sacred, intentional relationship with the medicine. And what do I mean by that? What is a daily sacred practice or spiritual practice? Some of you may be even triggered by that word, and I can appreciate that. I actually didn't have a daily practice, spiritual or otherwise, when it came to microdosing and plant medicine, because honestly, I think I was looking for a quick fix. I was looking for something that was just going to boom, heal me right away. I was looking for something that, could help me heal my addictions, my afflictions, release my grief, release my trauma, release my stuck energies, which, oh, by the way, after over 50 deep dives with ayahuasca, psilocybin, and psilohuasca, I've absolutely, yeah. However, that first 6 months, especially, I was taking 2 steps forward, 4 steps back. Because what happens when you're microdosing with psilocybin, ayahuasca, and then, of course, the heroic doses where you're taking, grams of mushrooms or you're taking higher doses. And I only speak about mushrooms and ayahuasca and psilocybin. Those are my jam. I'm not in the cannabis space. I'm not really in the San Pedro space, although I have sat with grandfather medicine. There's so many medicines out there. And I have sat with others, but my favorite core ones that I talk about are magic mushrooms, also known as psilocybin, psilohuasca, which is magic mushrooms or psilocybin with ayahuasca, and then ayahuasca itself. So when you bring these medicines into your body, into your being, and do it in a flippant way, or do it in a non-sacred way, or just doing it not knowing how important that daily spiritual meditation practice, prayers, breath work, working with the medicine after ceremony or even after you microdose, it can bring up a lot of trauma. It can bring up anxiety. It can bring up fear. It can bring up some shame, some guilt, some really deep seated stuff. And that by itself can be traumatic. How do you handle that? How do you hold yourself? How do you navigate the inner critic that comes up that says, hey, this trauma is so bad, let's just drink over it. Hey, this shame or this guilt feeling is so bad. Let's just, go hit cannabis or go hit something else or go spend time on social media or be distracted by work, overworking, right? That was one of my things. So what I got to learn, albeit probably almost a whole year later, was a sacred daily meditation practice or a sacred daily prayer and affirmations working with the medicine practice, daily deep breathing, or maybe time in nature or kundalini yoga practice, something to embody the medicine and to help quiet the mind chatter that will come up with this kind of deep healing trauma release work. Because I've personally experienced it, and I've seen so many of my clients experience it. When you have this stuff come up, it can send you sideways. It can cause you to have a downward spiral of emotions. I've had days where I couldn't even work last year because all of this stuff was coming up for me. How do you pay your bills? How do you take care of your family? How do you take care of your spouse, your partner? So this is what I mean. Just as I believe sex is sacred, this medicine is sacred. And to be able to have, in the case of microdosing, a daily practice where you sit with the medicine, you can hold the medicine to your heart. Do some deep breathing. Really connect with your heart space. A lot of people think that microdosing is all about healing the mind. To be honest with you, the most healing I got was in my heart. Unlocking a brick wall around my chest from shame, trauma, guilt, stuff down, repressed religion wounds and ancestral stuff that I didn't understand that was still in my DNA from 7 generations back on both sides. So you're going to face a lot of information. And what do you do with that? Can you just go back to work? It's not easy. So by setting yourself up to win, putting your oxygen mask on first every morning, whether you're microdosing or if you just come back from a deep dive ceremony, these are my tips for you. Set up sacred space, have a candle. I've got my candle right here. Light some incense. I have my incense holder already burned and done for the day right here. I'll be burning some more. And then say a prayer, say an affirmation, say an intention to the medicine in your hand, holding it to your heart. And then if you're microdosing, then take the medicine and just sit with it. Meditate with it. Too often we're in this instant gratification society where we pop pills, we slam shakes, and we go to work, we drive, we get to the destination, and we're just in our head for 8 hours. Why do you think people get distracted by social media, right? Maybe they're not enjoying what they're feeling in their body or what they're experiencing while they're at work. Maybe you have anxiety come up. So, as you set up that sacred space in the morning, first thing before you check social media, before you even touch your phone, unless you need your phone for playing music or sound healing, singing bowls from YouTube, all of this kind of stuff is going to help you set and setting, right? All about set and setting. You've probably heard that many times through psychedelica, through How to Heal Your Mind or Change Your Mind with Michael Pollan's book and his series on Netflix, Fantastic Fungi. That's a Netflix series. So, really getting an intimacy with your higher self in the same token. Really listening. The magic is in the listening. The medicine, the psilocybin, the ayahuasca, the whatever you're partaking in can only work if you work with it. And by quieting as best you can the ego, the inner critic, getting into the heart space, and then as stuff comes up, you can process it. You can bless and release it in your meditation time. Breath work is really great. Maybe going for a walk, grounding in nature, whatever is your thing to embody and release. I've gotten my drum out and I've working through some anger, working through some sacred rage, working through some anxiety. The drum is so healing for the chakras. Singing, I'll sing while I'm sitting with my meditative practice with my microdosing every morning. Not every morning because I take time off, but then even if I'm not microdosing, I'm still honoring this same sacred practice to connect with the divine within, connecting to my higher self, your God source, creator, whatever is your focus on your spirituality is perfect here. And the medicine wants you to do that. I don't really like the word psychedelic so much as entheogens, in theo, the God within. That's what the shamans always, that's why they take the medicine with you, depending on who you're sitting with, because they want to be able to connect with God, source, divine, and see what's going on for you. That's what we do in our medicine space as well. Take the medicine with you. And then when you're in that deep dive ceremony, a lot of stuff comes up, a lot of stuff. So these tools that I'm giving you now, whether it's also, deep breathing, whenever the medicine brings something up for you physically, usually there's a visceral response. You could also be crying. You could want to scream. You could be shaking. You could be all of a sudden have temperature fluctuations. That's what the deep dives primarily. So same thing, the body keeps the score. A lot of this stuff is coming up from your body. It's getting unlocked here, repressed traumas. I've had clients who had repressed sexual trauma, and I had my own journey with that in my own way. And I'm going to share more about this on my microdosing and psychedelics 202 advanced class on Tuesday, the 27th at 1:30 p.m. Pacific time. If any of this resonates with you, if any of this spoke to you, if you're like, whoa, you got my attention, Lois, comparing this to foreplay and sex, by microdosing or sitting with these sacred plants, you're doing yourself and the plants a disservice by not creating that daily sacred practice to be able to process, bless, and release what is coming through for you and, quite honestly, your ancestors to heal. You can't heal what you cannot feel. And you can't just pop a pill or some drops of microdosing and just go about your day and expect it to do all the work. You just can't. There's a dance in there. You deserve that. The medicine deserves that. And then your own healing will create that. And you'll have these I call them orgasms of divine healing, orgasms of divine release, these aha breakthroughs that the medicine can provide for you. You just got to give the spaciousness. You got to give yourself the time and the patience and the consistency of working with the medicine in a sacred daily practice way. So last couple of tips, if you're a microdoser, I coach on the model of 4 days on, 5 days on, 2 or 3 days off. So setting up your sacred space, having an altar on both the days that you're dosing and the off days if you can, because the medicine is still with you. The medicine is still working on unblocking those traumas, clearing, cleansing. Again, a lot of that depends on your set and setting and words that you're saying. Words are huge. Speaking your truth to the medicine and saying, I want to bless and release this trauma, and I want to call in love and light, patience, kindness, peace, abundance, whatever it is. So as you're letting something go with the help of the medicine, you're calling in something with the help of the medicine, and then with your higher self, your divine creator, your source, your God. Again, whatever word you use is perfect. This is all are welcome here, non-denominational conversation. And then you have that sacred union of your higher self and the medicine. It can be orgasmic. Again, I'm using these words with respect, compassion, and love, because I've seen a lot of clients with sexual trauma. So I can't say that enough. We'll be talking more about that in my podcast later this summer. So if you have questions, please attend my microdosing 202 class on Tuesday. If you saw value in today and you know someone who is especially trying to DIY it, they're trying to microdose kind of flying by the seat of their pants, or they're going to ceremonies and they're coming home, but they're not getting lasting results. Maybe they're actually feeling worse. That happens, by the way, if you don't integrate and get a daily practice going. That's the number one reason I'm talking about this, is because I felt that for several months, actually, lost days, confused, downward spiraling. And it was because I didn't have a daily practice. I was just really hoping and praying that the medicine was going to do all the work for me. I really thought that was what I was supposed to do. So take this information, share it with those you care about. And of course, if you have questions, shoot me an email, lois@loiskofi.com. I'll be talking more about this again on my class on Tuesday. Hope you can join me. Even if you can't, sign up at microdosingforhealth.now.sites and attend live. Sign up to get the replay. And of course, I usually do put the replays up on my website, but this one, you'll have to, opt in to receive this recording. So thank you so much. Have an amazing weekend. Thank you so much for tuning in. Until next time, here's to your best health, your best wealth, and your best wisdom. Bye-bye for now.